The story begins inside a very tall corporate building, and in one of the offices, we see a tired-looking young man clicking away on his computer deep in thought. While at work, he ponders deeply about something strange that happened the day before and is pretty bothered because he has no idea what in the world it was or what it could have been. In a flashback, we get to see exactly what he's been thinking about. The previous night, he was having a light dinner when some kind of hologram popped up right in front of him out of nowhere. It startled him, but after staring at it for a few seconds, he realized that it was some kind of status window, which made him think that he was hallucinating or something. At first, he thought he was just seeing things, but even after a while, the status window didn't disappear, so his curiosity took over. On what appeared to be a shopping window, he noticed the option to purchase some canned tuna that cost 2 coins and clicked on it several times. However, nothing happened after multiple attempts, so it dawned on him that it didn't work because he didn't have any coins. Still puzzled by the whole thing, he also noticed another item in the options, which was a hammer for crushing zombie skulls. The weapon cost 5 coins. And it was a pretty strange thing to see since he had only ever seen a status window like it in Apocalypse webtoons. That's the idea that had popped up in his mind when it first happened, and even now in the office. That's exactly the same thing, making him unsettled. The protagonist finds it hard to believe, though, certain that he's not living in some kind of story from a novel. The mental argument goes on for him, making him wonder if he's starting to lose his mind from the exhaustion. Just then, Song is finally drawn out of his thoughts when his superior storms into the office yelling his name in annoyance. The furious man slams the door behind him and immediately starts beating the MC for spacing out yet again. At this point, Song is still in a daze, and it's only until the boss taps his hand that he finally regains consciousness completely. The man tells him to focus and immediately starts demanding answers for a job he passed to him the week before. Apparently, the MC didn't handle it properly, so now his boss is getting a call from the Hanbiel Trading Company. Just when it looks like the boss is about to go off like a bomb, Song explains that the Hanbiel Trading Company failed to prepare the documents properly, which required a re-examination to be conducted. Clearly, this isn't the first time the boss is behaving this way, because the MC doesn't look surprised at all. It turns out that this angry man has failed to get a promotion twice due to his own incompetence, and now he's here again, throwing another tantrum for everyone to see. As you can imagine, the man doesn't appreciate Song's tone, even though he didn't say anything wrong, so takes it personal, feeling that the MC is talking back to him rudely. Just when it looks like the situation is about to get out of hand, a lady calls out to the manager. The gorgeous woman offers him some kind of drink, telling him to calm down, and the moment he turns to look at her again, all the rage vanishes from his body. It's pretty obvious that he has a thing for this lady, Miss Song, so he immediately rushes over to her, assuring her that he's definitely going to let Song off the hook for her sake. All of a sudden, the manager starts to get all touchy with her, probably misinterpreting her intentions. He asks her out to dinner after work, suggesting that some grilled intestines and soju would be a nice meal to end the day. But the lady wasn't even thinking in that direction at all. She's starting to get visibly uncomfortable, especially since he says it would be a shame for her to go straight home when she's dressed so nicely. At this point, they're no longer on the same page, but she doesn't want to upset him, so she politely declines the invitation, explaining that she has other plans later. Thankfully, the manager doesn't get mad at her for it. He's just surprised, but since it can't be helped, he lets her off, suggesting that they grab a drink sometime later. The man leaves the office right after that, and the moment he's gone, both Song and Miss Sion sigh in relief. Clearly, they're already used to the manager's annoying behavior, and while some still don't know how to handle it, others have obviously mastered the art. Knowing how much trouble he was able to face, the MC thanks her for helping him out, and she just smiles softly in response. Later that day, it's time for Song's break, but he's so tired already that he just wants to go home. At the moment, he's taking a smoke outside to relax and recalling the scene from earlier. He's not ready to go back into the office right now since his annoying manager Cho is still in there. As frustrating as the job is, Song remains aware that it's pretty difficult to get a new one these days. As such, he knows that he just has to endure it even if it's tough. After all, this is still one of the largest corporations around. While thinking about this, the thought of Miss Sion crosses his mind, and he figures that it wouldn't be a bad idea to get her a coffee later. As if she read his mind, the lady in question suddenly pops up right beside him, acting surprised to see him there on the rooftop. Song, on the other hand, is actually surprised to see her, so he asks her what she came to do here, since he knows that she doesn't even smoke. In response, she just sighs first before admitting that she came up there just to get away from the manager. Apparently, a client disappeared without paying their bill, and now Cho is taking out his frustration on everyone in the office. finding fault with every single person in there. Miss Sion, wasn't ready to be one of the scapegoats, so she snuck out before he could get to her desk. The MC is amused to hear this and simply commends her for making a good escape. At this point, the lady feels comfortable enough to start ranting about how the manager makes her feel. It turns out that he keeps asking to eat out with her when he's not even paying, but the most annoying part for her is how he subtly tries to touch her every chance he gets. Suddenly, she stops mid-rant and starts talking about how cold it is today, but Song can't relate because he actually thought that it was pretty cool for a summer day. However, she does agree with him because the temperature seems abnormal to her. So much so that she even has goosebumps right now despite wearing long sleeves. He's surprised when she suddenly rolls up her sleeves to show him, but then he just teases her for being really sensitive to the cold since he doesn't feel anything. The lady starts to get a little worked up when she sees that he doesn't believe her, so she takes out her phone to show him a video that would change his mind. Determined to prove her point, shoves her phone in his face and shows him a strange video of snow falling in Africa. As you already know, that's definitely not normal, so the MC isn't completely sure that it's real. He expresses his shock and the lady agrees with him because it is indeed strange. At this point, Song believes that there's something seriously wrong going on, and while he's still saying this, Ah's phone starts buzzing from a new notification. They quickly check the phone and are surprised to see a cold wave advisory being announced. That doesn't make any sense because they're in the summer and the MC begins to wonder if the meteorological agency got hacked or something. They're still trying to wrap their heads around the first message when a second emergency alert comes in. Apparently, the cold wave warning has been issued due to a rapid drop in temperature, so now, all civilians are being advised to prepare thoroughly for colds and other illnesses that could result from this sudden temperature drop. They both stare at the phone screen in bemusement, and because of how strange the whole thing is, they conclude that it has to be some kind of error. As far as Seong is concerned, it doesn't even make sense to joke about having a cold wave warning in the middle of June. However, while he's still trying to make this point, a tiny snowflake suddenly falls on his hand and even starts to feel even colder in that moment. Puzzled by this, they both look up at the sky and are absolutely stunned to see that it's actually snowing already. It turns out that the cold wave is coming a lot faster than they could have imagined. It only takes a few hours for all the rooftops to be covered in snow. And even though it's been going on for a while now, the MC still can't wrap his head around the whole thing. He stands out on the balcony with a cup of hot coffee in hand as he struggles to make sense of the situation. It's literally snowing heavily in the summer, which makes no sense to him. It's almost as if the world has gone completely insane. Despite warning himself with a cigarette and some coffee, it's still absolutely freezing to him, and it's clearly colder than it was when was there with him. Looking down at the heaps of snow on the roads, he can already tell that the traffic this night would be on another level, so he figures that it would be wise to pack up and head home right away. With this in mind, Song makes his way to the elevator, but after trying to open the door for a while, nothing happens. Of course, this leaves him puzzled and wondering if the elevator is broken or something. He's still trying to figure out what's wrong when a freezing gust of wind hits him in a flash. The cold seeps into his body instantly, so he starts shivering even more. Now, he's even more desperate to get home quickly to go warm himself, so rather than wasting any more time at the elevator, he makes his way down the stairs. With everything going on now, he still can't help but feel very bothered about that strange status window that popped up in front of him the day before. He clearly needs answers, but right now, the most important thing is finding a way to deal with this strange cold weather. By the time he reaches the bottom floor, he notices that the elevator doors are closing, which means that someone just used it. Now, he's sure that it wasn't broken, but upon getting closer, he hears the machine opening and closing the doors rapidly, which makes him feel that someone might be holding the elevator door. That's what he thought at first, but it still doesn't make much sense because it's way too quiet. If someone was holding the door, then there would at least be some kind of noise around. At this point, the most logical explanation is an elevator malfunction, but our MC is about to witness some even more strange stuff. In the blink of an eye, all the lights go out and Seong is suddenly surrounded by pitch black darkness. Seeing that there's just been a blackout, our MC begins to get pretty nervous and a lot more desperate to get the hell out of the building. He knows that this is not a good situation, so he decides to forget about packing up. He makes up his mind to just leave, but then all of a sudden, he's startled by an ominous sound of metal scraping in the distance. Song can barely see anything, and now there's a strange sound coming from the darkness, so he's really creeped out. His pupils dilate as he carefully makes his way to the dark office to get his stuff, and that's when he gets even more freaked out. The place is completely deserted, almost like everyone left already, which is pretty strange. He could have sworn that a few people were still in there when he went up to the roof, so the current situation makes him even more nervous. Besides that fact that there's no one else around, he's also very creeped out by the sudden darkness. As he slowly moves along the office, he notices how messy the place is, which is very unusual. It's as if everyone else fled in a hurry, so now, Jin Song is sure that there's a problem. Desperate to calm himself down, he calls out into the darkness, asking if anyone else is there. Of course, there's no response, and that's when that creepy metal scraping sound continues. Jin Song's adrenaline levels spike and he immediately gets into flight mode. Bro quickly takes his backpack and starts to make his way out of the building, knowing that he definitely needs to move as fast as he can. Just as he's about to make a run for it, he senses an ominous figure behind him. He can't see it yet, but there's a zombie-shaped shadow right behind him that's already sending chills running down his spine. Our boy doesn't even bother turning to look at it, he just shuffles ahead to increase his pace. He can clearly sense that there's something terrible lurking in the meeting room ahead, and he's not too keen on seeing it for himself, so he continues on his quest to escape, but then all of a sudden, he steps on something. Jin Song looks down to see the ID card he just stepped on and it's covered in blood. He picks it up and sees that it belongs to one of his colleagues, Kim Hyun-sok. Of course, he's very puzzled as to why it's covered in blood and whose blood it even is. Seeing the trail of blood leaves the MC frozen in shock, wondering what on earth happened in the place. Curious for answers, he decides to quietly follow the trail till he gets to the window of the meeting room. There, he peeks through the blinds and is absolutely mortified when he sees one of his colleagues feasting on the other. They're both covered in blood, which overwhelms Jin Song a bit. The guy is too shaken to even move, and in that split second, the zombie senses his presence and makes eye contact with him. The moment they lock eyes, our boy finally snaps out of his trance, but it's too late because now, the blood-thirsty creature is completely focused on him. The zombie stands up and in the blink of an eye, our boy finds himself standing face to face with the monster. He's extremely terrified now, but the shock keeps his feet tethered to the ground for a while. Thankfully, this quickly changes when the zombie attacks him. As soon as the creature charges at him, Jin Song turns on the jets and starts running for his life. At first, he didn't know exactly what was going on, but now that he's trying to escape death, it becomes pretty clear to him that this might actually be a real zombie. Bro realizes that he's not winning this race, so just as he enters the office, his eyes lock in one of the chairs. At this point, he decides to fight back by grabbing the office chair. With all the power he can muster, he lifts the chair and hurls it at the zombie. He's hopeful that this would at least slow the monster down even if it doesn't kill it, and thankfully, it works. With the zombie now a little occupied with the pain, the MC slams the door before the zombie can get to him, and this seems to have bought him some time because the blood-thirsty monster bangs on the door for a few seconds before stopping. Eventually, the zombie decides to walk away, and when our guy realizes that it's no longer trying to get him, he decides to let his guard down by quietly sitting on the floor to rest for a bit. It's obvious that it was definitely a zombie just now, and this is further confirmed when his phone buzzes in his pocket. He takes it out to see the notification of an emergency alert. Apparently, there is an infection suspected to be a variant of the rabies virus spreading rapidly throughout downtown Seoul. All citizens are being advised to refrain from going outside as much as possible and wait indoors for instructions from the government. As you can imagine, the most baffling thing he picked out from the entire message was the fact that this is a rabies outbreak. He just holds his head in confusion and annoyance as he reads the message, because it sounds like a load of shit as far as he's concerned. I mean, you can't blame him for feeling this way. After what he just faced, he's definitely sure that this doesn't have anything to do with rabies. He's certain that it was definitely a zombie, and the fact that people think otherwise makes him wonder what on earth is really going on. Determined to find answers, he goes through the comment section and reads similar encounters from other people. One guy just saw an old man ramming his head into the wall, and another even got bit a while ago. Sadly, some clueless people on the chat seem to have been bit already, but they don't even know what's about to go down. Seeing all of these messages, Jin Song realizes that the chaos is everywhere, so he begins to wonder if all of this has something to do with that status window from yesterday. With this in mind, he tries to search for answers, but he doesn't find any information related to floating status windows. Clearly, that's a dead end, so he ponders on it, thinking of what to do next, but then all of a sudden, his phone screen gets scrambled. At first, he's confused, but then the whole page goes blank, confirming that the connection has been lost. Once again, he starts to panic because he has no idea what he's supposed to do now that there's no signal. Jin Song is overwhelmed and tired of the whole situation, and to make matters worse, the chilling weather is still an issue. The MC is feeling extremely cold, and he's afraid that he's going to freeze to death before the zombies find him if things continue at this rate. At first, he curled up on the floor for a while, hoping it would help warm him up, but that didn't work, so now he needs a new plan to ensure that he doesn't turn into an ice cube or worse. Right now, his priority is to hold out somehow until a rescue team arrives or something. His phone's battery is at 83%, so he's confident that it could last him 2 days at least if he conserves it well enough. With this in mind, he turns on his flashlight and musters enough courage to climb back up the stairs. Once he's on the upper floor, he scans the area with his torch, but he doesn't see anyone. There's no sign of life around, so he figures that this is a good place to lay low for some time. Our boy already knows that he's going to be stuck in this place for the next couple hours or even days, and if that's the case, then he's going to need something to eat. He desperately wishes there were snacks somewhere in the office, or even some clothes he could use to warm himself up, and just like that, the search begins. He rummages through all the drawers he can access, and he's lucky enough to find a long-sleeve shirt tucked away in one of them. Now that he's gotten some better clothes, the next thing on his agenda is food, so the search continues, and after a while, he is delighted to discover a bag with food, water, and even a blanket in it. It's almost like it was placed there for him, and even though he doesn't know who the owner is, he's deeply grateful to them. Now that he's sorted those two problems out, he goes to the next thing on the list, which is a means of protection. He needs something to use as a weapon in case the zombies come for him, so starts looking and is once again lucky enough to find a golf bag with several clubs in it. Jin Song grins widely when he finds it in the closet because he never imagined that his annoying managing director would ever be of help to him. Our boy retrieves all the stuff he found and wraps himself in the blanket. Of course, he's relieved to have gotten them now, but he's not sure if it's going to be enough to help him survive the next 3 days. It's clear that the real problem is whether the rescue team can even arrive by then. He looks out the window as the snowstorm rages on and begins to worry again. The roads are completely overrun by hordes of zombies, and this blizzard is so bad that it won't be easy for a helicopter to come for a rescue. Right now, Jin Song is afraid that a week might even pass without anyone coming to save him. To make matters worse for him, it's getting even colder despite covering himself up with the blanket. He's shivering seriously, and it's only a matter of time before he chips his teeth with the way they're smashing against each other. Bro brings up the status window again and stares longingly at the page with the winter clothes there. He's desperate for them, but he can't afford it, and he has no idea how he can even get coins. His situation is looking pretty bleak right now, and he's truly afraid that he might not make it, so he just sits there in silence. Jin Song sits in the stairway waiting for help, but just when he thinks he's about to get a little peace, he hears footsteps approaching. Without any hesitation, he shoots up from the floor and grabs one of the golf clubs, determined to protect himself no matter what. He braces himself for what's to come, and all of a sudden, the footsteps become a lot louder and faster, as if the zombie is charging at him. The door bursts open in a flash and our boy takes a mighty swing, but just when he's about to land the hit, he realizes that it wasn't actually a zombie, it's his colleague. The guy introduces himself as Kim Ju, Manager Choi's replacement from the sales department, and the MC immediately recognizes him. He's heard about how annoying the guy is, but right now is not the time you get into that. The two get back to hiding and Kim tells Jin Song where he's been. The guy was in the break room when he suddenly heard loud banging on the door from outside, so he quickly locked the door from the inside early enough. Hearing this, Jin Song is curious as to how he got out and made it to this point without being taken down by the zombies. In response, the guy admits that he just burst through the door and ran through all the zombies in his path till he got to the emergency exit. At this point, our boy can tell that this guy is just trying to brag about his strength because nothing he's said so far has been useful. As if being useless isn't enough, Kim is now also about to be a liability because he suddenly starts complaining about hunger, asking Jin Song if he has any food. The food he has is barely enough for him, so he doesn't have any plans to share it with this annoying guy. He bluntly tells Kim that he doesn't have any food, but the guy doesn't believe him at first. Even though the MC isn't going to share his emergency rations, he doesn't mind giving the guy some water. I mean, he's not completely heartless. Anyway, he takes out the can of water and hands it to Kim, who thanks him for it. At this point, you'd think the guy would just take the water and be grateful, but that's not the case. All of a sudden, Kim grabs Jin Song's arm very firmly, and with a twisted look in his eyes, he asks our guy once again if he really doesn't have any food. Now, the MC can clearly see that there's something strange going on with Kim, so he knows that he has to be very careful. While getting the water, Jin Song notes something unsettling about the guy. At first, he thought that Kim was sweating because he had been running, but the guy has been dripping with sweat the whole time, even though it's freezing. Our boy feels that he might just be feeling too paranoid, but just as the thought crosses his mind, Kim suddenly lunges at him like a madman. Thankfully, he's quick enough to notice it, so slams him in the face with the water flask. He disorients Kim with the hit, lands a powerful kick to the side and sends him crashing into the wall. At this point, Jin Song has his golf club in hand, ready to strike because he's clearly facing a zombie now. Kim was fine just a moment ago, but now, the guy is foaming at the mouth and growling at him with crazy eyes. As much as our boy hates to have to do this, he also knows that he doesn't have much of a choice. If he doesn't take out the zombie, his own life will be in danger, so without any hesitation, he buries the golf club in the zombie's head. This is no longer his colleague Kim. It's now a bloodthirsty zombie ready to infect him, so he can't let that happen. Jin Song pummels the zombie until the whole place is covered in blood. He lands repeated blows to the head till it stops moving. At this point, it's clearly dead, so he can finally take a breather. The MC takes a moment to catch his breath, and then all of a sudden, he sees a status window appear right in front of him. It's a notification confirming that he just earned 1 coin. As you can imagine, he's taken aback by this because he has no idea what the hell is going on. After pondering over it for a while, it finally starts to make sense to him. The only place he's seen anything about coins was on the shopping window. So, he pulls up the shop to confirm, and sure enough, he sees several items that can be purchased with coins. Right now, he has 1 coin, so he can't really afford anything since most of the items cost more than that, including the winter clothes he so desperately needs. Seeing all of this, Jin Song begins to understand what exactly is going on. He realizes that he's probably going to get 1 coin each time he deals with a zombie, and frankly, that's quite disappointing to him. He literally just risked his life to fight and survive that, so he's pretty pissed that all he got was 1 coin. It's a really tough system, as he can already tell, and just thinking about it exhausts him. Jin Song simply falls to his knees, thinking about what his fate is, and that's when he spots something intriguing on the zombie. The MC notices the throbbing bite mark on the decreased Kim's arm and just sighs as the reality dawns on him. Kim probably got bit while trying to run through the zombies in the building, and he clearly didn't even know he had been bit. Our guy can't blame the guy for not even knowing, since he looked completely fine when they first met. It's really crazy that one can already be infected and have no idea. So with this in mind, Jin Song decides that he can't trust anyone by their appearance moving forward. The MC makes his way back to one of the offices to have a smoke and relax a little. While he's at it, he can't help but notice how good this cigarette he found earlier is. He remembers finding it when he was rummaging around the building for useful stuff, and he's really glad he did, because it's the only small comfort he has in this crappy situation. After some time, Jin Song figures that he should probably start moving back to his hiding spot soon if he doesn't find any other useful stuff. Just as he's thinking about this, a loud screech disrupts his thoughts. So he looks out the window to see what's going on outside, and that's when he sees the sea of zombies flooding the streets. There are only a few people who haven't been infected yet, but with the hordes swarming them, it's only a matter of time. Some of them try to fight back with weapons and whatever they can get their hands on, while others just succumb and accept their fate. Sadly, in a situation like this, there's really no use fighting, and the last man standing learns this the hard way. The zombies devour him in a flash, and all that's left of him is a bloody corpse. Well, that's before his transformation begins. Our guy watches the horrific scenes down there from the building, and he's truly shaken by it. It's so disturbing to him, but more importantly, it makes him understand just how screwed he is. As if the endless waves of zombies aren't enough, the snowstorm refuses to end as well. The blizzard rages on throughout the night, and our exhausted protagonist decides to just lie down and hope for the best. By the 3rd day, there's still no sign of any rescue team coming to save him, and it's not getting any warmer either. On top of that, his phone battery is now at 3%, which means that he's about to be really hopeless in a while. From the look on his face, you can tell that he doesn't really have high hopes anymore. All he has left with him now is 1 bag of snacks and 4 chocolate bars. As you can imagine, the last 3 days have been really frustrating for him. He's spent most of his time just staring out the window to conserve as much energy as possible. During that time, he saw several people attempting to escape from the zombies, and of course, every single one of them turned into a zombie in the end. Seeing such things can really kill a man's hope, and some might even lose the will to fight or keep living. However, that's not the case for our hero. Despite seeing how the efforts of others ended in futility, Jin Song has come to the conclusion that he has to get moving. As far as he's concerned, there's really nothing else he can do if he wants to live. Sure, it's safer inside the building, but staying here like this will only bring him closer to death with each passing day. He decides that he can't keep hiding in one spot staring out the window till death comes for him, so first, he intends to find some trustworthy survivors within the building. Jin Song still believes that there are others like him and that his best shot is finding them. So, with the little energy left in him, he clears out the barricade in front of the office door, prepared to finally walk out. The MC is definitely afraid, but he knows that this is what he has to do. He must find the others and combine forces with them to get out of this building. For now, his main objective is the 6th floor. This is where he wants to begin his search, and to do that, he needs to check if the entrance is blocked like Kimju Man said it was. For the first time in days, Jin Song opens the door to walk out, and the moment he does it, something shocking happens. All of a sudden, the power is restored and all the light bulbs come back on. As soon as he sees this, he doesn't even waste a second before running back into the office window to check if it's still snowing. Sadly, when he gets there, he's disappointed to see that the blizzard is still very much there. He looks out and sees that all the other buildings don't have any power. It's still very dark outside, but the lights in the building are on, so this can only mean one thing. Jin Song got his hopes for a second there, but the lights inside are still on, which means that someone must have turned on the emergency generator. The last time he checked, zombies aren't exactly cut out for stuff like that, so he is convinced that there's another survivor in the building. This is exactly what he's been praying for, and now he has a chance to join forces with someone else, so he dashes out of the room to begin his search. The MC takes all the stuff he needs with him and makes his way to the stairs once again. He knows that he needs to be quick about this little mission, because the lights could go out at any moment, and he wouldn't want to be in the zombies' territory when that happens. With this in mind, he resolves to find the others before the lights go out and makes his way down the stairs. Jin Song believes that the survivor is likely located in either the management office or the security office, since those guys are the ones with access to the generators. The thing is, both of those offices are on the 1st floor, so he'd have to go down a couple stairs, but it's a relief for him. On the way down, he notices that something is going on with his shoes. As much as it's keeping his feet warm, he knows that he can't risk attracting the zombies with the noise, so he takes off his shoes and continues the journey in socks. Our guy is determined to make it out alive, and he no longer cares what it's going to take in order to achieve this. Soon, he arrives on the 6th floor. Right now, he's pressed for time and needs to find the other survivor before the backup generator fails, but he also needs to check if the emergency exit is truly blocked. So, Jin Song takes a quick stop on the 6th floor to check for it. Our boy stealthily moves around there and eventually gets to the exit, and just like Kim said, it's blocked indeed. Now that he's done with that, he needs to get back to finding the other survivors in the building. That's the most urgent thing right now, so the emergency exit can wait for now since he's confirmed that it's blocked. Not long after that little detour, the MC finally reaches the 1st floor, and upon getting there, he notices that everything still seems normal. It doesn't look like the zombies from outside have been able to break in yet, and that's a good sign. However, considering the usual foot traffic in the lobby, there's a high chance that zombies are roaming about. He listens carefully, but doesn't hear any noise, so he attempts to open the door and is relieved to see that it's not locked. Jin Song opens the door slightly to take a peek, and sure enough, he finds numerous signs to confirm the zombies' presence. There are blood stains all over the place, and he even sees a few of the undead patrolling the area. On looking closer some more, he sees many others roaming about like it's some twisted Halloween party. He's astounded by how many there are and starts to feel that this might even be the entire horde of zombies. Just as he expected, it's practically impossible to escape the building at the moment. There are just way too many zombies in the way. Still, he's glad that the zombies from outside haven't gotten in yet, because that would just make the situation a lot worse for him. Sadly, with the way things are going, it's only a matter of time before those front doors come down. The multitude of zombies outside seem to be looking for a way in, and if the population goes any higher, then they'll definitely break in. As such, he knows that he just has to move fast, so that's exactly what he does. He runs past the lobby when all the zombies aren't looking and successfully reaches the management office. On getting there, he's once again met with a sad discovery. He looks into the office only to find a frozen man. He clearly froze to death due to the cold, and Jin is heartbroken when he sees this, because this man was the one who greeted him every morning. Sadly, now he's gone. Jin had always heard how people who die from hypothermia paradoxically remove their clothes, but he never thought he'd see it for himself. There's nothing he can do to help the deceased man now, so all he can do is pay his last respects. He covers the man's eyes shut and prays for him to rest in peace. There's no point staying here and risking getting caught by the zombies. The generators are also likely to fail at any moment, so Jin gets a move on. He hurries down to the other parts of the 1st floor in search of the other survivors. Clearly, nobody in the maintenance room survived this apparent Ice Age apocalypse, so the only place left to check is the security office. The MC arrives in front of the door and just stands there, desperately hoping that he finds a living person in there. As much as he wants to meet with the other survivors, he's also afraid of how they might react to his sudden appearance. Jin fears that they might have set up traps to prepare for intruders, just like how he would set up a barricade if he was in their position. With this in mind, The MC figures that the only way to avoid getting attacked is to let them know that he's not a zombie or a hostile beforehand. The best way to do that right now is to avoid startling them by making any sudden noises. Unfortunately, that's going to be very difficult because any sound he makes right now will probably attract the zombies. Speaking of zombies, some of them are coming his way for some reason. They mindlessly stagger in his direction, making him a lot more nervous. He needs to think fast if he wants to survive this because these creatures aren't exactly easy to defeat. He knows this all too well since he's spent the last 3 days watching them devour civilians like him who tried to be brave. They might have terrible eyesight, but their sense of hearing is extremely sharp, so he has to be very careful. Our guy starts knocking on the door as quietly as he can, hoping that the survivor in there would recognize that he's human and let him in. But that might not work. And on top of that, the low knocking sounds seem to be attracting the zombies to him. Jin starts sweating a lot and eventually decides to take the risk. He can't wait for those inside to open the door anymore, because he's literally a sitting duck out here. Now, he's made his presence known, so he musters all the courage he can to open the door, hoping that he doesn't get attacked by those inside. So, he slowly reaches for the door and opens it as quietly as he can, but he's suddenly met with a big shock when he does this. That's it for this episode. See you on the next one. Until next time.